First one, and this is a tough one. Get started. How many of you had a friend or a relative or someone else say they've got an idea for a product? How many years have they been telling you about their idea for the product? How many more years do you think they'll tell you about the idea for the product?
Forever.
Get started. I mean, it's really the first step is you've got to make the commitment. You've got to say, I'm going to go do this. And when you say that, what I would highly suggest is you dedicate time. And I would suggest specific time. Not I'm going to put in 4 hours a week. I dedicate Monday nights, whatever it is that works for you. If you have kids that go to bed at 9 o'clock and you want to block out 9 to 10, do so. But make it committed time, just like if you were in a softball league or went to a book club or came to an entrepreneurs group. Block out the time to spend on your venture. One of the good things about getting up and doing this is it reminds me of my own habits that I need to keep along those lines, is that if you set something aside that's important to you, if you don't block out that time, you don't get it done. The emails, whoever brought up emails, that all you do is spend your time on emails instead of you're reacting. And if you're reacting, you're in trouble. You really need to be proactive if you're going to get what you need to done. So it goes well beyond this.
Yes. It's activity versus accomplishment.
And you stay in your comfort zone. I mean, people have gotten real comfortable hiding behind the computer working on emails versus doing the things you really need to do to make something happen for yourself. Because to do this, and if you haven't done it, you're stepping out of your comfort zone. And you need to do so. Second one is make a commitment, not have 1 foot in and 1 foot out. And what I mean by that is if you're going to do this, get into it. One of the things our attorney told us when we first started, we did have a patent attorney, and I did patent that nail bandage, is he said 50 other people have that same idea as you, at least 50 do. If it's a worthwhile idea, one of you will make it through, and it's going to be the person who makes that full commitment to get it done. If you decide you're going to do it, determine, I'm going forward with this, I'm going to be successful, I'm going to get this product to market, and fully buy in that you are going to make it happen for yourself.
Can I add one little thing?
Please do.
You were talking about how we tend to work harder for other people than for ourselves. It helps to make the commitment out loud to someone else who's going to hold you accountable.
You know, it's interesting, Deborah. I had someone tell me that just a few months ago when I was working on something, and I spoke it to them, and they said, now you've taken that step. It's a huge step that if you say it to enough people, if you keep it to yourself, it's because you don't believe in it enough. You need to say it to a lot of people, and absolutely agree to have an accountability partner makes a huge difference. Third is do your homework. Make sure before you go forward, research your product. Find out what your competitors are doing. Obviously, this goes for a service business too. Learn what your competitors are doing. Understand what's going on in the marketplace. Understand as much as you possibly can. I mean, the researchability right now is just huge, obviously, with the internet, to be able to find out exactly what your competitors have, what their price points are. If we launch a business, we're going to make sure we have fully researched exactly what's going on there, preferably even find out how big the market is. One of the things, and I can't say I'm all that good at it, but to find out more keyword searches to be able to know exactly what's going on, what are people really looking for. And if someone is going to reach me and you're putting together a website, you better know what people are asking for. So that's part of doing your homework. I mean, even if you think you know your industry, ask the questions. I'm going to give you a personal example that happened to me. It was a lesson. I spent a year on a project that I never should have if I had done Ready, Aim, Fire. When private label products were first starting, we were working with some chemists, and we thought the chains would want customized private label products, that they'd want to have the best possible product they could in their store. Because we knew we could make customized products cheaper than anybody else. We could do a turnkey for them, and we failed miserably. And guess what the reason why is? If we walked into a Safeway, Walgreens, Lucky, guess what their #1 need was for a private label product? Yes, that was it. It was liability. Liability was their only concern. Cost came into play, but you had a buyer, and their only concern was that they would not get sued. That was the primary thing for them. So, I'm sorry? If anything happened with the products, if they were using a cosmetic product and someone got a rash, they were totally consumed by liability. So they want to know where else you were selling it, and had there been any lawsuits. Everything beyond that was secondary. And because I did Ready, Fire, Aim, and I thought, hey, Safeway's going to want to have a better product than Lucky, No. We had very few situations where that was the case. It was almost always liability based. So really do your homework so you aren't wasting time. Number 4 is develop your vision and goals. For a vision or mission, what can someone tell me what they would say is the difference between a vision or mission and a mission statement? Who can help with that? Please.
I have my definition
Go
of
for it.
a vision. A mission statement is kind of the impact that you intend to have in the world. You know, my mission is to create transformation for people. I mean, it's longer than that, but that's a mission. A vision is an expression of what my experience is when I have my goal. What's my life? What does my life look like? What do my relationships look like? How does it feel? In as much gory detail as I can get. The juicier, the more detailed, the more specific, the more effective it is. That's my definition of a vision.
I'm not sure I could add anything to that. That's perfect. I completely agree.
And
This was kind of funny, this is a compliment to me. I have been out of consulting for the past 7 years. I've gotten back into it 4 months ago, and have been networking a lot, and got asked to be on the board for the Institute of Management Consultants, which is the largest national consulting group, and thought that was pretty good because I'm not even a member yet. So they had their annual planning meeting, and we start talking about the first thing they go into is their mission statement. And the group is really a great group. I mean, these are really extremely bright individuals. The thing for me, though, is the mission statement, while it's my expression to the world of what I'm doing, doesn't necessarily take you to where you want to go. Your vision is the most important thing. You need to know what it's going to look like, what it's going to feel like for you, what is going to be your experience to get to that goal that you want to achieve. Because taking your product to market, I mean, for those of you who've done it, it's hard. You know, it's very easy to quit. This is what gets you there. If you know what that experience is going to be like for you, if you can keep reminding yourself of that when things get tough, when you're taking that 1 or 2 steps backward along with the 1 or 2 steps forward, it's what keeps you in the game. You've got to remember that. I know there were many times when things got tough where that's what got me over the hump. When I thought, oh, are we really going to make this? It's because I knew what I wanted that end state to be. And that's really important. How many people know the SMART goal setting process? Okay, I assume there would be a few. I'm going to go over this one briefly because I know most of you know it. I know the acronyms can be different depending on what your personal preference is. The S stands for specific. Your goal needs to be literally that. Not I'm going to spend time on my project, kind of what we talked about, Brad. I'm going to spend Monday nights on my project. So it needs to be very specific. The M is measurable. You need to be able to quantify it. How many hours are you going to spend? Are you spending Monday nights from 6 to 7 or 6 to 10? What is that time going to be? The third, and this is the one you'll hear differences most of the time. To me, A needs to be action-oriented. And the best example I can give of that, if your goal is to be rich and your game plan is to buy lottery tickets, it's probably not action-oriented enough. You need something where you need to do a little more than that if you're going to get there. The R is realistic. I had a friend of mine who decided she wanted to start an exercise program. How many of you started and quit an exercise program at least once or twice?
Last week.
Yeah, exactly, last week, yeah. And she hadn't worked out in quite a while, and she decided, I'm going to go into this. So she worked out her first night for 3.5 hours.
Good for her.
Guess who wasn't walking for the next week? It's got to be realistic, and it's got to be something that you can continue doing. So for the next week, she wasn't working out again. So it's got to be sustainable, exactly. So make it realistic, something that you're going to be able to do that works within the rest of the framework of your life. It's not that you have to do this every single day. If you're putting in 1 day a week, make it something that's manageable for you that at least keeps you on a progression. And the T is for time bound. So T is time bound. So you want to attach a time to it. And let me give an example of this. And this is something that I plead guilty to not doing every single time. This is when you hold yourself accountable to say, I'm going to have this done by Friday, July 11th. Not only hold yourself accountable, but if you're working with others and you're on a project, make sure you have a common date.